Hey guys, welcome back to the Latarjet Diaries. Today we have another podcast with one of the subscribers, also somebody who is very active in our WhatsApp group. By the way, if you are not a member yet, it is totally free. Make sure to join the WhatsApp group. You will be in a little family with people that have done the surgery or have interested in the surgery. Join, it is free. You will have lots of support. And I'm super grateful, Louis, to have you on today. You're from England, that's correct, right?
Yeah. From London.
London. All right. Yeah, thank you so much for being here, man. We have been in contact for a while. It has been a challenge to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
But really looking forward to this conversation. We had a little chat already, and you have a big story. So I'm just going to start with the beginning. Can you just, of course, you're Louis from London. Can you give like a little introduction? What's your age? Like, what is it that you do as a hobby or a job? Let's start with that.
So I'm 25 and from southeast London. For the past 4 years, I'd say I haven't really been able to do anything. My hobby's pretty much been going to the hospital and having appointments with whether it's my shoulder surgeon, neurologist, or just physiotherapy. I've only really started to get into having a normal lifestyle again. And it's simple, but it's enough. It's more than enough for me.
Okay, maybe let's start with the beginning because you have a very intense thing going on. You mentioned before that you had more than 200 dislocations. You also have epilepsy, which was a big like a big root of the problem, I would say. Can you maybe just give like a little introduction on that as well? Like, can you map out your situation?
Yeah. So February 2022, I just had a seizure, and there's a lot of different seizures you can have with epilepsy. I sort of have the traditional one per se, where I fall to the ground and it's just pure convulsions. So I just had a seizure, and I was wearing a jumper, like a hoodie, and so completely out of it. And my mum's gone to take the hoodie off and sort of pulled it, and it's pulled it this way, so the shoulder has just come out. And from then, it was just dislocations every other month. And so there was one dislocation in July 2022, sorry. And I was doing physiotherapy, and it was like, say you're prone, like you're on your knees facing down, and you're just raising IYTs. And through this movement, I had dislocated, but I'd also fractured my shoulder. And from then, I was having dislocations, say, every week. And I'd gone to see a shoulder surgeon, a shoulder specialist, and we was talking about possible surgeries, which was initially the Bankart surgery, or say like the labrum repair or slap surgery, wherever you're from, which at the time was sort of the protocol over here in London. And I hadn't dislocated from, I'd say, probably about December 2023 to, about February 2024.
Okay.
And from then, it just kept going, and come to the conclusion with my surgeon in around 2023, to backtrack, that I couldn't have any sort of surgery without having my epilepsy controlled. And with epilepsy, it's non-curable. You can sort of have medication and it will be controlled. And in England, once you reach an adult age, which is 18, There isn't any epilepsy specialists like when you're an adolescent or whether you're a child. So it was proving to really be a task, and my surgeon uh, kindly went out of his way to use his leverage to find me a neurologist, and from then it was a matter of time getting it controlled. And I'd say probably about mid 2024 was when uh, I was told that we can't do it right now. Uh, your epilepsy needs to be controlled, and I was still having seizures, and I was just thinking, is this ever really going to happen? Then I started reading up on the Latarjet, and I was thinking this is the best solution from what I've read.
Hmm.
And I brought it up to my surgeon as I was going to it's called the fracture clinic. Whenever you'd go in for a dislocation to the hospital, they'd
Right.
refer you to a fracture clinic about a week later. And one of those times I had brought up to the surgeon the possibility of Latarjet, and basically he said, yep, I completely agree, because the slap surgery in your predicament, where you've got the heel sacks, where you've got a bit of bone loss, the Latarjet would probably be the best solution. And it was just a matter of controlling my epilepsy from then. But I'd say the start of 2025 was probably where it started to get pretty bad, where I was going to the hospital 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes even 7 days a week, 10 days out of 14.
Wow.
And I'm being put under sedations, like ketamine and morphine. And this is due to the fact that I would have the gas and air pen, or the sort of like nitrous oxide
Yeah.
solution, so that it gets you a bit blurry, and they put the shoulder back in. But my issue was where I was having so many, not able to do physiotherapy. I would, I just had so much muscle atrophy, and my arm was pretty much built like this.
Hmm.
And so the joint, it just became so unstable. So they would put it back in, and it would just keep popping out. It come to October 2025, the first of the month, I had my last dislocation. Then I also had my last seizure before the surgery, luckily enough. And from then, it's just been a big journey. I said earlier about, you know, there wasn't really very many, let's say, pathway to glory in terms of recovery, in-depth recoveries. I was just basing it solely off what I'd read. I really got into a bad mental state where I was just watching the surgery, like live surgeries, like every single day. And
Wow.
luckily, I've got a good support network with my friends and my family. My best friend would come see me every day, and it come to the point where he was saying, "Look, Louis, you're reading up about this stuff every single day. You're telling me exactly the same thing,
Hmm.
and you sort of just you sort of got to be patient. You've you've got to snap out of it, really, because you're doing yourself some bad harm." Then it was a matter of, is this going to work? Is this going to carry on until I'm 30 years old? By then, my 20s are over. I'm thinking, where do I go from here? But luckily enough, it's been a success. It's been a success. That's no much more than I can say.
Okay. There's a lot of questions. I have to unpack something here and there. First
Mhm.
of all, like the epilepsy thing, has this been since the beginning of your life, or when has this started?
Uh, so I was born with it. It's genetic sort of epilepsies from way up the line, like my parents, my granddad, they don't have it, but one of my great grandfathers, they had it. But it was
Okay.
very, very minor. But
Hmm.
I had my first seizure when I was 10, and I'd have probably 2 big seizures a month, and they would wipe me out for a week due to how physically exerting they are. So up
Well,
until literally probably about 2023, when I first got my neurology appointment, it has improved. I've had 4 seizures in probably almost, I'd say, about 3.5 years, which is unbelievable. Like, it is crazy. I haven't really had the opportunity to sort of think I could be seizure free.
so my follow-up question to that is how did they manage to get it under control? Was it like with medication, or I'm trying to understand
Yeah.
how they eventually did it.
Yeah, they gave me some medication. I was quite negligent and pretty comfortable with having seizures due to how used to it I was before the shoulder dislocations. Obviously, I just thought I'm living my day to day life. I'm still doing activities, and it it sort of never really crossed my mind too intensively. Uh, I've got a friend who has got epilepsy. His is a lot worse than mine, and I've seen him go through taking a lot of medications, and it's gone pretty badly. So I'm extremely lucky that it's sort of taken effect. I haven't had no bad side effects. So I was just put off of that. So from then, I'm just thinking like, why didn't I do this sooner? But sometimes things are just meant to happen. God just has a plan for all of us. And you know, I wasn't I wasn't taking care of my body. I was smoking cannabis every day since I was around 19, 18, just copious amounts of it. And once the shoulder dislocation started, it was really bad. I lost a lot of weight. As somebody who's 5'11", I was 8 stones or 50 kilograms, which is dangerously underweight.
Mhm.
And since the surgery, my epilepsy is better. I'm still seizure free. I've got motion back in my arm. I'm at a healthy weight. I've put on around 20 kilos. So life can't be any better at the moment.
Yeah, I mean that is awesome to hear. What like for me, there are two parts going on here. You have like the epilepsy, the seizure thing, and then you have the Latarjet. So I think this is a very unique case. But if I understood
Yeah.
well, like when is it that you have done the surgery? How long is that ago?
October 23rd of last year.
Oh, that's pretty close to mine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you are epilepsy free for more than 9 months. Is that what I heard?
Yeah. Yeah. Coming up to 10 months in probably a couple weeks. It's insane.
Yeah, let's go. So you're still taking medication for that,
Yeah.
or yeah?
Yeah.
But it is not affecting you, like you are not getting tired from it, or it's not like having some side effects for you?
No, I mean, when you've got epilepsy, I'm sure some people can relate. There is a sort of tendency where you sleep a lot more. I say a lot more. It's probably, well, the average person could probably have about 7, 8 hours. I have about 9 to 10 sometimes. So if I was asleep any longer, it'd be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine if you have like a seizure that it takes all the energy from your body. It must be hard. I cannot like relate to
Oh,
that, but yeah.
it's crazy, honestly. Like for for me, for about a week, it would just be trying to get back to a normal state. I'd just be so tired. Like it
Hmm.
was crazy.
Yeah, so sorry to hear that, man. But I am super happy for you that at this moment or this stage in your life it is somehow better.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Thank you.
okay,
Thank you very much.
yeah. I want to talk about the surgery. Let's start with the beginning. So you did a surgery. It was successful. What was the protocol
Mhm.
that you have received? Because I'm not sure, but I assume that it was like a little different than the normal cases, I guess. Is that correct? Or
They gave me sort of the traditional pathway. And, I sort of had my own take with it. I took it up with the surgeon, and he said, in terms of being in the sling, take it off when you're confident to, due to the context of your situation. I mean, after around, I think it was on the day, I was given small exercises to do, such as like putting your arm on the table and turning your hand over,
Mhm.
clenching your fist, and really, really light pendulums, like really, really light. And yeah, 2 weeks after I saw my surgeon, I was still really apprehensive from everything. And, my surgeon had said, have you moved your arm about at all? And I've said, no, I've stayed in the sling. Like, I've been very strict. And he just said, right, let's give it a go. He said it, and he just grabbed my arm and he just put it to 90, 90, and then put me up here at 90. And I was just sitting there. I just thought, like, what? Like, what? And he was just like, right, yeah, it's going to get a bit stiff up here. And he's pushing it. And I'm thinking, right, I'm pain free, but what is going on here? And I couldn't believe like the stability, and I was just taken by surprise. But it was a matter of physio every 4 to 6 weeks, and I would just be given additional exercises. I'm sure maybe yours was as well. My physiotherapy was very aggressive in the beginning, and it did take me a while to sort of have a breakthrough. I've got full range of motion now. I've still got the
Wow.
little bend in the elbow, and sort of, it gets to about here, which is about 80, but it'll come back eventually. I think it's a matter of, before the surgery, I had 30 degrees flexion. I wouldn't even put my arm into abduction, wouldn't even try externally rotating, and I wouldn't even dream of lifting my arm like this. Like, it was really bad, really, really bad.
Yeah, I like, if I understand it well, it must be like kind of freeing, kind of liberating if you compare where you come from and then finally being able to do the surgery and having like this range of motion. This is like a totally different thing, right?
It's crazy. Like, I'm still getting used to it. Like, I'd become so accustomed to not being able to move my arm. I just sort of took it in my stride unwillingly. But this is just day to day life now. Until this gets done, I was very used to it, and now I'm getting used to being able to move my arm properly again. I'm started going to the gym, lifting weights, which is just, to me, it's just alien. But then again, I'm getting used to it. I didn't used to do anything, so nothing but positives.
That's amazing. Like, how does your are you going to work, or like how does your life look like right now?
So I haven't been able to do anything for around 5 to 6 years. I had something that went on when I was 17. A friend of mine passed away, and from then I had literally just gone into a downward spiral. I lost a lot of ambition. I lost a lot of, I just had a very negative outlook on life. And yeah, so after the surgery in the last couple of months, I've thought about getting into football coaching and to getting UEFA badges, because I'm sure you can imagine I was actually pretty good at football as well, or soccer as you called it, without getting offended. Yeah, I was a pretty good goalkeeper. I was semi-pro, and I just had that completely taken away from me. And my way to get back, sort of gain my identity back and be around the sport, is to do football coaching, and seeing how far it can get me, because I'm very invested in football. Football sort of my life at the moment. Before and after the surgery, I started going to when I support Chelsea, I'd start going to Chelsea games to sort of get me out, become accustomed to going out in the sling and out of the sling, getting used
Yeah.
to sort of normal life. And I'd missed it so much. I just thought I've got to get back into it. I've got to find a way to get into the sport. And I think coaching will be the pathway. That's sort of my dream. And then on the other side of things, I'm doing a digital security course. So it's just sit down job. It's mobile. So when it gets going, I could go on holiday, still be working like 4 days a week as long as I get the hours in, and then the rest of the week I can just do what I want, do so-called traveling and work. That's sort
Nice.
of the dream. I think that's realistic, and both sides of it sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's realistic. And I think it's very beautiful that you have an idea or a plan on what you want to do. I think we are pretty much the similar in terms of like the identity issue with the soccer, being used to get your identity out of the soccer game or the football game, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know my story, but I was also like very much into soccer. And then, yeah, I had like a fight with my coach. My ego was inflated, so I decided to quit impulsively. But man, I crashed very hard because soccer was my life, and everybody knew me as Dylan, the soccer player. Probably the same like you, like Louis, the goalkeeper. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I eventually ended up in jail because I was starting to use drugs. I was starting to sell drugs, and then it probably take maybe like less than a year before I ended up in jail, and before I realized like I lost track. So I can relate to what you are saying,
hmm
but I think it's nice for you that you have some ideas on how you can be more into soccer or how you can be more engaged in the game. I somehow lost my passion for the game, but that's also perfectly fine.
hmm No, I hear it. I hear it.
Yeah.
I hear it.
Let's
That's
move on. Oh,
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's very good that you changed your life around. I've seen a lot of people that have, you know, had their biggest downfall to, selling drugs, doing drugs, and not getting back, not getting back at all. Their life is ruined. So kudos to you. You sorted everything out from what I can infer. Good for you, Dylan.
Thank you, man. And I can like I have not never really lost like of course I have lost people, but I'm 30 years old and I never really have lost a very close friend of mine, as you said before,
hmm
right? So for
Yeah, he
me it
was my
is.
best friend. Yeah,
Oh, he was your best friend.
yeah,
Yeah, I cannot imagine how hard that must be, like losing your best friend at that age, because that is pretty young, right?
yeah.
And
He had he had a mental breakdown and took his own life, which was insane to me because I'd seen him a week before, and you wouldn't have thought he was, you know, the funniest guy in the room. He was amazing. He was a comforting guy. He was he was special, and it's a tragedy.
I'm so sorry to hear that, brother.
No, it's okay. I'm you never get over it, but you get used to it.
Yeah, I have to think about my best friend, by the way. He is from Congo. He's Congolese. He lives in Belgium, but he has no family. So he only has his sister. The rest is has died or lives in Congo. And he lost both his parents when he was very young. And I have had many conversations with him about that topic because it is different than yours, but he is really struggling because he has no parents, right? And like in my case, sometimes my mother makes food for me, or I have like a call with my father and I go to him in Spain. But for him, it is hard because he doesn't have any parents anymore.
Mm,
And I yeah, it's, as I said, it is different than you, but I just feel his pain and I have had many conversations with him about that topic. And
mm,
the only thing that I can say for myself is it is a fact that one day I will lose people. Of course, if God willing, if I'm still alive, I will lose people that are close
Mm.
to me, my parents, maybe even close friends like yours. And
Yep.
it's going to be hard. It is inevitable, and it's going to be hard. That's the only thing that I can say. And so I cannot imagine how hard it must be, but just feeling when you're speaking about it makes me already like, I can feel that intensity. So thank you for sharing that, by the way.
No, of course, there's not much more I can say. I choose to just celebrate his life, really.
Beautiful. Yeah. So how are you right now? You've shown your range of motion. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how stable does it feel? Are you afraid for dislocations, like, or maybe in certain angles, or does it feel like new?
I'm sure you can imagine it just feels new. Like, it's sort of like there's just like a belt around my arm, and some days you notice it, some days you don't. Some days I'm a tiny bit sore, sometimes I'm not. Well, most of the time I'm not. And yeah, it doesn't feel like it's going to dislocate. I know there's a high percentage that it won't, but there's always going to be that inkling at the back of my mind where I'm not going to be as flexible as I was. Whereas when I was a goalkeeper, I would just be flying around. I had insane range of motion, and it sort of humbles you, this surgery, because you know your limitations. But it doesn't mean you can get back to doing sport or getting back in the gym. There's still a lot of positives to take from it.
Yeah, exactly. I want to go deeper. I want to go deeper in, because I think you're probably the first one that I have heard like with this long period of dislocations and the uncertainty and not being able to do surgery because of your epilepsy and stuff. So I want to understand how you were thinking. Like, how was that for you all these years with the struggle? Like, how were you surviving? How were you thinking? I'm curious. Like, how was it for you?
Uh, well, I'd say barely surviving, to be fair. Mentally, I was just done. It was more about putting on a face for my family, my friends, my nieces and my nephews. And, if as crazy as it may sound, there were times where I thought about taking my life and stuff like that. And, you know, then sadly, I would just think about, I'd be thinking about obviously my friend who had taken his own life and seeing what had happened to the people around him, not just myself. And I just thought, I've got to get through this. I've got to do this for my nieces and nephews to show them a positive male figure in their life and sort of show my strength and, to be honest, prove it to myself, because I haven't been proud of myself in a very long time. And this has been the craziest experience. I've learned so much about myself. I'm so much more grateful for everyday experience. I've also had a lot of time to read, whether it's existentialism or philosophy. I really enjoy that. And it's just been a crazy ride. It's been a crazy ride. And physically, I feel the best I've ever done in probably around 10 years. I was very light. As I said, I was 50 kilos. I'd say I had, it would be probably considered as like a borderline eating disorder, but I think due to the cannabis I was smoking, it was just
Mhm.
putting me out so much I would just forget to eat. So I was just neglecting my body, neglecting my mind. But now it's just completely the opposite.
I'm proud of you, brother.
Thank you. I,
I really am.
I genuinely think, Dylan, that in a way, I was down doom scrolling through studies, watching the actual surgery every day, people on the table, trying to find people who had pathways to road to redemptions. And when I first discovered your channel, I couldn't believe it. And the amount of detail you was going into it, how enthusiastic you were, even at your lowest of times when you first found out you had the nerve damage. And I was even concerned because I thought, this guy can move his arm up here. I can barely move my arm. Like, what is going on? Seeing how positive you were after, seeing how you were so eager to bounce back. Watching your videos essentially gave me the drive. I've told my physio about your videos, your channel, and he said, "Well, you've sort of got like a sort of recovery friend." I was just like, "Yeah, basically, yeah." And I'd always thought like, it would be amazing if I could get to a podcast setting. And when you started doing podcasts, I just thought, can't believe it. You'd you've gone so far, and you know, seeing what you're doing now, I just think it's amazing. If only you had been around, like a couple years ago when I got into the doom scrolling, but then I think this wouldn't have happened. So if anything, God just has a plan for everybody, and this has just been a blessing, honestly. I can't thank you enough, Dylan, honestly.
I'm not gonna lie, I have a hard time right now emotionally. Thank you so much for saying that to me. I don't always, like, I don't normally get that emotional, but there are a lot of things happening right now in my mind, and I just want to say let's start with a big thank you. I deeply appreciate all that you have been sharing with me. I think you are very young to go through the things that you have been going through, with the friend with the epilepsy. Thanks God that you are where you are right now.
Yeah.
And if I say that I'm proud of you, I really mean it, like from the bottom of my heart. And I am so grateful that the videos have helped you in a way. And it is not about me. I believe that we are building this community all together, right? Of course, I am making videos, but the interaction that comes from it has changed me. And also definitely, like, when I heard your story, I told my girlfriend, like, this guy, like, with his epilepsy, like, what a crazy story is that? Like, never heard of that before. And I do believe that God has a plan. That I really do. And like, it's a saying that the biggest trees, they have their roots the deepest in the ground, right? And for me, this is an example that, like, your situation, your life, like what you have been sharing with me, this is an exact example of what I mean by that. Like, you are a big tree, but you had to go through this, and seems to me that you are doing much better. But you have experience that not a lot of people will have. The thing that you have like some knowledge, some, how do you say it, like some thick skin. You have been going through this for years, and this story, this experience is going to help you for the rest of your life. And I just hope and I pray that the new chance that you have received with the shoulder, that you take it with both hands, and that you just make the best out of it, whatever it is. If you want to become a coach, if you want to do something else, like, go for it, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Like you said, as horrific as the last few years have been, it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me, because I take everything in my stride now. I'm so grateful that I've come out on the other side. And, I'm so grateful that I've had an amazing support network, and I've told my friends how grateful I am for them. There's a saying, what are parents for? But they've still got to make that sacrifice. They've been amazing. And my friends would come to me, and if they were having a bad time or something had happened, they would come and converse with me. And where I'd lost my friend all of a sudden and didn't know he had any sort of mental issues, I would thank them. I'd say thank you for coming to me, because this has just made me feel so good. This has made me feel so good that, one, that you're opening up, two, that I can sort of take what's the word? Sort of like a small piece of closure, where I sort of wish I was there for my friend, but I'm sort of seen as being there for other people, and I'm just doing my best, doing my best. All we can do is do a little bit more every day. There's such an expectation of all of our lives, whether you're a man or a woman, especially with what you see online. And all you can do is just do a little bit better each day, a little bit better each day. I also thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I found God like 4 months from the surgery,
Amen.
and I haven't looked back since, you know. I have my heart is full. I couldn't ask for more right now. Everything else is just everything else is just a privilege.
Amen to you, man. Amen to you.
Yeah.
If
Amen.
I know that some people, like I have contact with some people, and there are like people are struggling. Of course, like a big percentage, it's flawless, it's good, but some people are really struggling. What would you say to those people? And this may be like a weird question, but like you learned a lot of things during this process, like perseverance, patience, trust, hope, and all of that. Can you maybe just speak to those people, the people who are in fear, people who have no support system, like friends or family, like they need to hear people like you? What would you say
Of
to those
course,
people? Imagine that I'm a guy, like, and I'm lost in this process. What would you say to that guy?
I would say, I know it's a bit of a throwaway comment. I'd say, give me a number, text me. I will speak to you every day. Make sure how you're doing. Even if you want to speak to me, please let me know how you're feeling, how you're thinking, and what's your outlook at the moment. In terms of a logical standpoint, I would say join your group chat, Dylan. I'd say join your group chat, because before there was nothing. I would also say, as difficult as it is, and this is regardless of my story, don't compare yourself to anybody else who's had this surgery. This is your own journey. It's hard for everybody. It's so difficult for everybody. It's very humbling. But what I would say is, again, you'll learn so much about yourself, and victory is sweet. It is so sweet when you come out on the other side, and this pain will only last for so long. And God willing, the surgery is successful for them. There's a positive outlook to take from every single situation like this.
This is deep. This is
Yeah.
beautiful. It's perfect. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I'm having a hard
What
time,
would
bro.
you
I'm so
say?
sorry.
What would you say?
For me, I mean, I can totally find me in your words, by the way. But,
Mm.
and I sometimes say this on my channel, but I'm just careful because this channel is Latarjet based. I don't want to mess with the algorithm. And I know that some people, different countries, different religions, different perspectives on life. But for me, I like to pray. I can, like, I pray all the time. This is not even a lie. I can pray for hours. I have found some real strength in prayer. It has changed my mind. It has changed my thinking. I read the Bible, like three things, and it is all Christian. I would read the Bible, I would pray, and I would sing, like worship music, right? Like
Yeah.
these three things for me, they are weapons for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. Like this has gotten me through the Latarjet, but through life in general. Even if it seemed that nobody was having faith or me in me, nobody was there for me. Of course, people are there for you, but they cannot be with you all the time, if you understand what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to go through things alone, right? And for me, I never go through things alone anymore. Never. Because I know for a fact that what I believe that is true, and I don't want to have the discussion or the discussion with people like you are wrong or I'm right. Like that is not what I'm trying to do. But I know for myself that I have found real wealth, real treasure, because God is on my side. I believe that. And like you say beautifully, this surgery, it has humbled me. And I was also always praying to humble me, because I don't know how you were as a soccer player, but I was a very ego guy. I was a very, how you say it, blasé. I had like a, how do you say it? Like a big ego, inflated ego. Yeah. Exactly. And so for me, like, since I was in jail, my whole ego, it got crushed. Like my whole name for what it was worth, because that doesn't mean a thing, but everybody started to look at me different, and you know how that goes, right? And so for me, and the Latarjet has shown me humility, like also compassion to people who are having like sicknesses, illnesses. Some people have cancer. They like people are having so many things in life. And I started to understand, like, don't take life for granted. Like, our body is a blessing, and we should take care of it. As it says in the Bible, like, the Holy Spirit lives inside of it, is a temple to glorify God. I mean, I can continue for hours, but for me, I realized, like, whenever I come out of this surgery, and thank you, God, that I have recovered from that nerve damage, but I'm going to do everything within my capabilities to take care of myself, to be grateful for what I have received. You know, and I was always insecure about my bald head, and I'm super white. I'm a white guy, so I was insecure about being white and all of that. But I see it different. And as you said beautifully, it's between you and yourself, the surgery. But I really believe that there are so many life lessons in this journey, if you choose to approach it in that way. But a short answer to your question would be focus on God. Like, you have to have a higher power, and for me, that's Jesus Christ.
Yeah, amen. Same here. You know, the person who you show yourself to be in front of your friends, even in front of your family, you're still entirely a different person when it's just you in that room, and only God knows that person.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's all I can say.
Yeah, I totally agree. Are there anything, because I have not asked everything, but we are in the flow right now. Are there any things like in your mind, things that you just want to share that I have not been asking you, things that you find very important maybe to share for yourself or for other people? Everything is fine. I want to give you some space to do that. If you want, of course, not a must.
I would say take everything in your stride, whether you've had the surgery and you're gaining little by little, but you get a setback. It doesn't mean you can go 3 steps forward, 5 back, and then go around 10 forward. You know, that's the whole thing about perseverance. Perseverance is a gift. Some people have it naturally, some people don't. Some people are just very insecure. I myself, very insecure with the epilepsy and just being used to not being able to do a lot. But I'd say be grateful that you're breathing, you're eating, you can walk, you can move. Like you said, people have got cancer. My story sounds bad, but it's not as bad as someone who's going through chemotherapy. You know, people who have epilepsy, much like my friend, it's really bad. He doesn't really have any social outlet, very within himself. And even so, people with epilepsy, they can be pretty much, I'd say, brain dead. You know, they're not able to move, they're not able to live as freely as I. So I'd say just be grateful. Like you're comparing yourself to me and saying that it's a very deep situation. my situation was not as bad as yours. Listen, like, there's no need to compare someone else's traumas. It's still trauma at the end of the day, and everybody deals with it differently.
It's true. It's true. I am very grateful for this conversation, man.
Honestly, I'm just happy that I can provide a story for you. And honestly, it's your whole series, the whole recovery, it is genuinely in my heart been a blessing. I've been looking for something for so long. Honestly, it was genuinely a blessing. I told my mum about it when she was staying with me downstairs to monitor me after the surgery, and she said, "Is it as in depth as you'd want it?" And I said, "It's even more." So Dylan, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that your channel started about. You took the initiative, even at your lowest point, where you was getting really deep with the nerve damage, and you know, I sort of think I wouldn't have even been able to have the strength if I'd have had nerve damage, if everything was going bad. You showed yourself in a very, very vulnerable state, and I think a lot of people alone would relate to you and even had admiration for you. I have a lot of admiration for you. I think you've really expressed yourself in a possible way. You've been very honest. You've laid all of your cards on the table, and kudos to you. Honestly, kudos to you. I have a very big respect for you, and if you're ever in London and you want to go for a pint or anything, I'm always here.
I will do that for sure. That's a promise. I have to meet you.
Yeah,
But
100%.
yeah, but thank you once again. I'm very grateful for your kind words and super grateful that we managed to have this conversation. I am 100% sure that this is going to help the people. And I think you have a very strong story. I think you are a very strong and smart person. And I just hope and pray that you will continue as you are doing right now. And as you are, be a blessing, man. You are a good person. You have a good heart. I am going to end the podcast here unless there is still something that you want to share.
Yep, I would say thank you to all the people that have come onto this podcast, as little as or little as large as they may have thought about it. People like myself in before the surgery in that situation, it is genuinely an unbelievable outlet to look into. And Dylan, thank you very much once again. I've said it many times. It's been a journey, and I hope to the people that are watching this, hopefully to people with epilepsy, stay strong. There will be better days to come.
Amen. And guys, by the way, if you wanna have a chat with Louis, you can join the WhatsApp group. He is in that group. I will link it up in the description. It is free to join. There are many people over there, and yeah, everybody is super welcome. As I say always, thank you so much, Louis, for being here. I enjoyed our conversation, and let's stay in touch for sure. Maybe you can come back later on.
100%.
Thank you for watching, guys. More to come. Make sure to subscribe and like this video. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.